This is the Neoliberal Round Podcast.
We can do it tomorrow. But welcome to another quick episode of the Neoliberal Round Podcast. I'm Renaldo McKenzie. I'm talking with Ricardo, one of the co-hosts of the Pulse. We haven't had a Pulse in a while. We haven't had an episode in a while. But we are yet to talk about what is going on in Venezuela and the Caribbean region with the U.S. Policy to take down the Maduro government, and I'm saying to Ricardo, it has nothing to do with the U.S. playing the high road, okay, in terms of policing. Because first of all, I thought the U.S. was no longer policing; they wanted to get rid of policing, yes. But what I'm saying to you is that Venezuela is in bed with Mexico, in China, and in bed with Russia, okay, and they're doing deals with these countries. And the fact of the matter is, when that's a problem for the US, now it's a problem for the US for countries like Jamaica and what's going on throughout the Caribbean, where they are in bed with the Chinese. China has invested billions of dollars in these countries. They are modernizing these ports, and and that's a problem. The stability in the region is a problem for the US because, as I said to you, the US must be the most dominant country in the region. And whenever its dominance is threatened by the other satellite countries in the region, then the US must act to preserve its dominance. This attack, this posture by the Trump administration is a posture that any other US government would withhold. Because it is not in America's interest for Venezuela to become stable. And let me tell you, Donald Trump would not have attacked the Maduro government. Donald Trump would not be shooting down if they were not in bed with China. It has nothing to do with saving the day of taking down this political despot. Because the US in the past, I am sorry to say, have supported despotic government, like in the 1980s. Okay, with Walter Rodney and he was assassinated by the Guyanese despotic, tyrannical leader. Okay, and this leader, he wasn't a Democrat, or he wasn't promoting democratic policies or diplomacy. However, he was supported by the Reagan government or by the US government, despite the fact that he was illegitimate. Despite in Guyana in the 1980s, despite the fact that he was illegitimate, okay, he was attacking the people. The problem is when these government, if he was in cahoots, he was in bed with the American government, okay, and they had heavily invested in these people. But anytime any of these countries decide to remove, okay, their relationship with the Americans and to develop some type of stability with another country, which threatens the dominance and the competitive edge that America has, then they create a false notion of drugs. Drugs is a smoke screen. The Maduro government, if he wants to save face, he needs to stop the relationship he has with China and Russia, okay? And now curry favor with the US, with Trump, by engaging with the US government, having American companies come to Venezuela and spend money on American companies. Let the American companies rape them. Just as though in Guyana right now, the US companies is in Guyana, helping them to drill for oil, and the US companies are raping them. The Guyanese, they're only making 12%. The US companies are making 78%. That is fine. But let us say Guyana decide to say, you know what, I don't need the US companies anymore. We're going to go to China and Russia and these other places, or we're going to rely on ourselves to start drilling for oil, okay, therefore, and developing some stability in that area. Then what's going to happen? The US will attack Guyana. It's a hypothetical situation, but it has happened before in the 1980s. It is happening, the same thing with Cuba. There is an embargo on Cuba. There's always been an embargo in Venezuela, okay? Because these governments are communist government, and by communist, or they are not relying on the American government, and they are not in bed with American government, and they are trying to develop stability with some other people. That's a problem for the US, okay? And so, drugs is a smoke screen. I want you to understand what I'm trying to say. This is what I say in the book, Neoliberal Globalization Reconsidered, Unfair Competition and the Death of Nations. The nations will crumble. The nations will die that's what's going on in Ukraine. The problem with Ukraine is that Ukraine decide to go outside of Russia and to do business and curry favor with NATO and with the US. And they're developing some stability and they're rising. That's a problem for Russia. And so Russia has decided to go to war. I said to people in the Caribbean, and I had a big debate in my class. I said the Jamaican government must be careful about doing business with China because it might come back to haunt them because the US will not have any of it. Suddenly you'll have the CIA invading in Jamaica and creating deals that would outduel, because first of all, this government, the JLP government, was always in bed with the US. But now, they were on the other side. The PNP was on the other side. What's happening now is something completely. It has nothing to do with politics in terms of political. I mean, it has nothing. It has everything to do with the competitive edge that the US want to maintain. And if any satellite country, any of the small countries, threaten the dominance of the big countries, that's a problem. That's what I talk about in the book. That's what the book is about. This second book coming out. It is deep. Okay? Ricardo?
What's the name of the book?
Neoliberal Globalization Reconsidered. Unfair Competition.
How do you think, I'm American right now. And so anything for U.S. dominance, I'm all for it.
Yes. And that's, yes, Ricardo. But, yes, we live in America. And we want America to be competitive. But how are we going to do it? How are we doing it? And just remember, America is a country filled with people from it's a diverse country as well. So how do you reconcile the two? Do you agree with them putting embargoes on Cuba and Venezuela and then using communism as a smoke screen when it has nothing to do with that? It has everything to do with maintaining the competitive edge of one country over another. Yes? And to the point where they are willing to go to war.
Well,
This is the Neoliberal Realm podcast. I'm Renaldo McKenzie. And I was just talking with Ricardo about what's going on. We're going to take a break. We will talk about this some more at length. Okay? And the book is coming out soon. Stay tuned for that as we talk about some of these heavy topics. Renaldo McKenzie. Visit us at theneoliberal.com, RenaldoCMcKenzie.com. The book will be available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and the like. Walmart, and so on and so forth. The first book is available worldwide in all platforms. And just so you know, Neoliberal Globalization is also available on my website, store.theneoliberal.com. It will be available in all platforms. And it's being published as we speak. Thank you for listening. Please support us and support this podcast on any stream, anchor.fm/neoliberal. We are on Apple Podcast. We are also available on Spotify, on YouTube, and on all major podcast network. I'm Renaldo McKenzie. Please visit us at theneoliberal.com. And we're always serving the world today to solve tomorrow's challenges by making popular what was the monopoly. What good? By the way, earlier we talked about the despotic government. The Guyanese president or the Guyanese government, led by Lyndon Forbes Burham, was found liable for Rodney's death in the 2017 Commission of Inquiry. He was assassinated in the early 1980s, very early 1980s. But this was a government that was just as guilty as the Madura's government. But he was supported by the American. And that's the point I'm trying to say. The point I'm trying to make is this. If the leader of a country, yes, is doing the bidding of the big country, the post-industrial country, then it is okay. Okay, even if they are unjust, even if they are not practicing the democratic ideals that we are used to in this country, diplomacy. Okay, if their government is in bed and currying favor from in terms of they are doing business that is puffing and popping up American companies, okay, and continue to promote American businesses and so on, then it is okay. But once you have a despotic government that is out of line with promoting with promoting American wealth, then that's a problem. Okay, that's the point I'm trying to make.
No, that's fine. Hi, everyone. I'm Renaldo McKenzie, the author of Neoliberalism, Globalization, Income Inequality, Poverty, and Resistance. And I'm here in Philadelphia. Amazing librarian who is from New Jersey, but she's here in Philadelphia, and she's getting a copy of my book. And I'm going to give her a copy of the book. Thank you for purchasing the copy. And just so you know, you're a librarian.
The neoliberal corporation is always serving the world today to solve tomorrow's challenges by making popular what was the monopoly. Visit our new store page, Shoptown, at store.theneoliberal.com.